Welcome. When Iran attacks with a $35,000 drone and the US shoots it down with a missile worth up to $4 million, it's clear the spending is going in the wrong direction. Let's talk about Iran's cheap drones that are currently giving the Farsi forces an edge and changing modern warfare tactics. Small, small, small. During the war that US and Israeli forces started on February 28th, and that has been going on for over 4 weeks. A big part of Iran's military power, ballistic, the rocket has destroyed many airfields and a large part of the country's naval fleet. One of the advantages Iran has managed to keep is its Shahed drones. There are many models of the Shahed drones, but the most commonly used is the delta-winged Shahed 136. It's a one-time use, kamikaze-style drone that doesn't come back. It blows itself up on impact. You could think of it as a slow-flying, simple-winged missile. Its wingspan is just over 2.5 meters, and it's turbocharged. Maximum speed is 185 kilometers per hour. It's launched from a rail system on the back of a military vehicle or pickup truck. Once in the air, it can fly up to 2,400 kilometers and uses GPS to hit targets with a 40-kilogram warhead. All this costs around $35,000 to $50,000 per drone. These suicide drones aren't just made, they are cheap weapons made locally. Iran uses these kinds of drones to jam U.S. base air defense radars, attack embassy buildings, and strike important oil and gas infrastructure in Arab countries. So far, at least 6 U.S. military personnel have died as a result of Iran's drone attacks. The drones have become a real nightmare for oil and natural gas facilities in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. Additionally, kamikaze drones target the U.S. and Israel. They're quickly running out of interceptor missiles. According to the New York Times, Gulf countries are launching interceptor missiles that cost millions each to fight the militants. High-tech, expensive fighter jets, basically space-age planes that have to slow down almost to a stop, are being sent up to deal with these low-tech, fast-moving drones. On top of that, pricey Apache attack helicopters are also shooting down drones from the sky with machine guns. Michael Howard, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania and a senior research fellow on innovations, gave an interview to Bohr. He explained what drones are capable of and how the U.S. can defend against them. What worries people like me is that American aircraft carriers are usually very well protected. A single drone could never take down an American aircraft carrier. They're just too small. But if there are a lot of these drones, then it becomes possible. The real danger is this. Imagine you're not sending 1 or 100, but 500 drones at the same time towards a U.S. aircraft carrier. Even if the U.S. manages to shoot down 450 of them, a lot of drones would still make it to their targets, the professor says. The scale of these one-way attack drones, it's confirmed. We don't know exactly how many drones Iran has, but we know they have thousands. Also, Russia can produce 1,000 or more copies of its Shahed 136 drone within a few weeks. Iran likely has a similar production capacity. The US and Israel are definitely targeting their manufacturing facilities, but many of Iran's production plants are underground, and that, since commercial production can be used to build systems, this can be done almost anywhere, says Corbett. According to the professor, the US started using its first precise mass system, the LCK drone, against Iran, but it's still not being used widely. The American military arsenal focuses more on quality than quantity. They're ready to have systems that are easy to use, expensive, and hard to produce, which are among the best in the world. But essentially, they're exclusive. These products were developed but never mass-produced. The problem is, now that's not enough. If Iran is sending drones worth $35,000 each at the US, and the US is shooting them down with weapons that cost between $1 million and $4 million apiece, something's definitely off. You don't need to be, In the past month, they've been fending off Iran's mixed attacks. They're mainly using Patriot short and medium-range air defense systems. Each Patriot missile costs several $million and can take down planes, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles in their final stage. Necessity is the mother of invention. Iran has felt strong security threats in the region before. This is partly linked to Iran's own ideology. If you're shouting, "Death to America," then the US and the region, you need to be ready for some questions that countries might ask you. Iran fought a war against Iraq in the 1980s. Over the years, Iran has had constant clashes with various neighbors. Because of that, Iran built up a pretty extensive military arsenal. It's not as advanced as the US or Israel's, but Iran became a pioneer in making cheap, long-range, and accurate mass weapons. Later, they shared this tech with Russia. In the US, they haven't spent nearly as much money, but have been able to use Iranian drones effectively. Is there a way to defend? Yeah, there are a few options, but it'll take some time to get there. They say necessity is the mother of invention. Right now, Ukraine is that country. They've been standing up to Russia's invasion for 4 years. Almost every day, Ukraine loses dozens of Russian Shahed drones. Because of that, they've gotten creative with cheaper air defense systems. For example, Ukrainians use even cheaper drones to take down those $35,000 ones. They're using them. In some cases, they're even using old World War II-style anti-aircraft guns. If a much cheaper drone can take down a billion-dollar aircraft carrier, then we definitely need to rethink how we conduct war. Relying solely on these delicate, expensive, and hard-to-produce weapons just isn't going to cut it for the US anymore. This is especially true when facing complex potential enemies like China or Russia. Here's what the United States needs to aim for: a strategy called the high-low mix, combining advanced and simpler systems. According to Michael Horowitz, some high-end systems like Tomahawk missiles and F-35 jets need to include advanced tech. At the same time, there should also be a new range of cheaper systems, not things meant to last 50 years, but affordable, one-time use tools that can be regularly updated. You have to look at it this way: the nature of war is always changing. I used to think it was like when machine guns were first widely introduced in World War I, says the analyst. That was a situation that completely changed the character of war. For example, after that, machine guns became weapons you'd find everywhere. Everyone had a machine gun. Then, in World War II, tanks became the weapons that influenced battles. And since then, tanks have been everywhere. In the Russia-Ukraine war and the conflict involving Iran, what we're seeing now is one-sided strikes. The thing is, they're not the only thing the military needs, but they're now an essential part of the future arsenal. If you don't have them or can't defend against them, you're in big trouble.